This is a step-by-step explanation for the Chapter 2 Rates and Ratios Practice Test, Part A. So this is a no calculator test. And here's the explanation for the answer key posted. So in question 1, we see the ratio of 12 to 4 can be written as the fraction a over 2. So 12 to 4 looks like 12 over 4. Can be written as means is the same as a over 2. So I'm going to put the piece that I know. From here, we always want to think about the fraction that we know all of. In this case, I know the whole fraction on the left going to the right. So to go from 4 to become 2, I would need to divide 4 by 2. 4 divided by 2 gives 2, and 12 divided by 2 gives 6. So the correct answer for question 1 would be 6. Question 2, express the ratio of 3/4 as a decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth. So we want to make a connection here that decimals to the nearest hundredth have 2 digits behind the decimal, or that they are the same as some value out of 100. So using my knowledge here of equivalent fractions, I'm thinking 4 to 100, I need to build 4 times 25 equals 100. 3 times 25 gives 75, but because it was asked to be expressed as a decimal, this is where we'd want to recognize that the numerator is going to become 75 ending in the hundredths, and because this has already stopped in the hundredths position, I don't need to round any further. In question 3, we have the ratio of 2 to 5 can also be expressed as a fraction when written as a percent. So we want to recognize here percent means something out of 100. So I'm going to use my knowledge of 5s to build 10s and then to build 100. So 5 times 2 gives 10, which means I've got 4/10. 10 times 10 builds 100. 4 times 10 builds 40. And now that I have 40 out of 100, that is 40%. So my answer would be 40. In question 4, we see the fraction 4/5 is equal to 36 out of some unknown value. So again, we want to think about we're going from the fraction on the left to the fraction on the right, only because that's where I have the whole fraction. Keeping in mind, we could go the opposite way as well, and it wouldn't make a difference. We just want to think about going from what we know all of to what we know part of. So to go from 4 to 36, I'm going to quickly list out my multiples, because again, we want to remember that sometimes we just need a second to see the pattern, and that sometimes working from our heads is not our best bet. So I've got 36 there is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 groups. So because I multiplied by 9 to get to the top, I'm going to multiply by 9 to get to the bottom, leaving me with an answer of 45. In question 5, we see we've got 60 kilometers per hour. 60 kilometers per 4 hours can be written as a unit rate. So a unit rate just means that we need to create that second term, or that denominator is equaling 1. So to go from 4 to 1, I'm going to divide by 4, and I'm dividing by 4. Again, another way to think about unit rate is simply top divided by bottom. We're taking the numerator 60 and dividing it by the denominator of 4, leaving us with 15 kilometers per hour. In question 6, we see 3/7 is equal to 36 out of what? So again, we want to think about where are we starting. We start with the fraction where we know everything. How many groups of 3? What am I multiplying by? 3 goes into 30 would be 10 times. So 33 would be 11, and 36 would need to be 12. I'm going to do the same thing here. 7 times 12. 7 times 10 I know is 70. 7 times 2 I know is 14. and 12 is a combination of both, so I know that that answer is equal to 84. So my correct answer for question 6 should be 84. In question 7, we see that 2 pens cost 96 cents. So 0.96 is the cost for 2 pens. The cost of 1 pen, or the unit rate, would be to create the denominator here as equaling 1. We're going to divide by 2, divide by 2. A reminder here, we do know how to multiply even if it takes us a second to get that answer. So, reminder, I'm thinking about how many times does 2 fit into 0? None. Carry our decimal. 2 goes into 9, 2, 4, 6, 8 is 4 groups of 2, uses 8, and I'm left with 1. So now I'm thinking about 2 goes into 16, 2 goes into 16 8 times, that's all 16, so that's finished. So 48 cents a pen. In question 8, we've got 15 to 5 to A is equivalent to 45 to 15 to 60. So again, think about what do we know all of. In this case, I know my whole second ratio. So I'm going to go from the bottom up. 45, what can I do with 45 to build 15? Well, 15 would be one group. 15 plus another 15 would be 30. And then 15 more would be 45. 15 more would be 60. So I have 3 groups of 15 out of 45. I have 3 groups of 5 out of 15. And when I divide 60 by 3, I realize that A is equal to the value of 20. In this question, we've got a 2-sided equivalent fraction. So in the middle, we see everything that we know. We've got 12 out of 24. Now here, going to the left, this is probably no problem. We can go from 12 to 4, 4, 8, 12. So that's 3 groups. 24, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. That's 8 groups. But 4 out of 8 we might want to recognize as also being, well, 4 is one group of 4. I could divide by 4, and I can divide by 4 a second time to recognize that this fraction is also a half. This is important because if we jump in at the 12 over 24 equals something out of 40, well, this might be tricky because 24, one group of 24 is 24, 2 groups of 24 is 48, so this doesn't evenly fit. So instead, this is where our flexibility in math matters so much. Instead of looking at it as 12 over 24, I'm going to come back to 1 over 2 equals something out of 40. So in 1 over 2, we know 1/2. 40 is the denominator, is the double. So the top, the numerator has to be half of that. What's half of 40? Half of 40 is 20. So this answer, our B, needs to be 20. So in that case, our A was 8 and our B was 20. Lastly, the ratio 9.6 to 3. This one tripped a lot of us up. I think just because there was a decimal and a ratio. So 2 terms, 9.6 is on the left, 3 is on the right. Can also be represented as, is a fancy way to say equals, an unknown to 1. So again, making sure that our values are on the right side. So second term matches second term. We know the whole first fraction, so I'm going from first to second. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So 9.6, pardon me, divided by 3 equals our answer. I'm going to scooch in here. 9.6 goes in the house. 3 is what we are making groups of. 3 goes into 9 3 times. We've used 9, so that's gone. 3 goes into 6 2 times. We've used 6. That's gone. Lastly is recognizing that if we have a decimal in our question, where our decimal goes in our answer for an end value of 3.2. Good luck, everyone.